Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. We will convene the meeting of the Aging Committee. On one note, on SB 204, an act concerning a salary for family members who care for individuals experiencing dementia for a subject matter hearing, public meeting, the committee was unable to schedule the public hearing. Therefore, the committee will take no further action on this bill today. SB 204. Yeah. There was a little confusion on the agenda on the website. Item 16, which was 5174, is LCO 5193. And number 17, which is LCO 5189, is a JFS to the floor. So is there a member that would like to, remarks by the chairs? Go ahead, Senator.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for all attending the committee. It is my hope that we're going to vote on some really great bills. And that's a result of the truly bipartisan partnership and the great committee that we have working together. So I thank everyone. I think we're making great strides in helping our aging population to be safe and have real good quality of life. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Senator Seminara.
Good afternoon, everybody. So happy to be here, and I do concur with Senator Hockadell that we are working bipartisan, and I do think we are making some strides in the Aging Committee. Thank you so much, and I look forward to making some great votes today.
Thank you. Representative Belinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too will echo the fact that we are really setting a terrific example as far as the bipartisanship. This the give and take that's happening, amongst the leaders and third party people that are interested is striking, and I appreciate our leadership. And the way that we're all encouraged to bring our thoughts to the table. So thank you very much, Madam Chair. And let's, rock and roll when you're ready.
Thank you very much. So let's get right down to business. Hopefully, before going individually, we can try to create a consent calendar. Do I have a motion to start a consent calendar?
So moved. Belinsky.
Rep. Belinsky made a motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Vale. So a motion is made to JF or JFS. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, this is Rep. Hughes. Let's see. I'm happy to start a consent calendar, but we're going to name one by one which ones get to go on it and which don't, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, got it. Okay, so the first bill for review is SB number 900, an act establishing a revolving loan account to assist elderly homeowners. It'll be a JF to the floor. Is there a motion to accept this into the consent calendar? To JF it to the floor. Is there a motion for the consent calendar? No?
Rep. Belinsky will motion this to the consent calendar. If anybody has alternative ideas and wants to discuss this, then please say so.
Can you repeat that, Representative Belinsky? It was a little muffled.
I'm sorry. Representative Malinsky motions for SB 900 to be placed on the consent calendar unless there's objection from another committee member.
Madam
I'll
Chair, I see
second.
some other hands raised. Do you see
Okay,
that?
just a minute, please. Rep. Polinsky, can you withdraw that motion? Because we need to JF it to the floor first. A motion
Okay.
to JF it to the floor.
I withdraw my motion.
Do you want to make the motion to JF it to the floor?
Representative Belinsky motions to SB 900 to the floor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Seminara. Is there any discussion? Representative Boer,
Thank you, Chairwoman Garabay. Are you asking me for my comment on the bill or my comment on, what are you asking me? I wanted to make a comment on the bill. Is this the right place?
yes, it
Okay.
is.
Okay, what I wanted to say is that I'm supportive of this bill. Obviously, we want to try to do everything we can to help our elderly population with their, their tax burden. The only thing I would say, I hope we consider in the future, because it's too late today or maybe a future amendment, but I think we have to look at the tax liens that are sold by municipality and see if there's a way that we can perhaps stop tax liens from being sold for the elderly population, because by the time they're in delinquencies, some municipalities sell those delinquencies in a year. And once you sell those delinquencies to a tax lien organization, there's nothing you could do about it. So I think the revolving loan is really great to help them, but for some it's going to be too late, and we need to stop that transition to the collection process before it gets to that point, because it's very difficult to back out of that. So that's all I want to say for the future, and that may even be the banking committee, but I think that's important that we try to help those delinquencies being sold. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Boer. Representative Case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And a question, so obviously this bill will have a cost associated to it through you?
In the sense that there is a pool of money to draw from, but it is a loan. It's a loan.
So, but we have to have the money to build on that loan, correct?
Yes.
So my question is, why aren't we JFing this to appropriations? It's going to take an extra 2 weeks to get it to appropriations if we send it to the floor. And the floor doesn't have to send it to appropes.
Because I wish, that thought had not come up for, I know myself in screening. And this is where we are now.
Okay, well, we can change the JF to a pro. I'm just saying, you move to the floor, you have a 2-week lag time before it gets to a prop, and they're building a budget right now.
Right. And we may JF it from the floor. I think the thought is at least then voices will be heard. And if it's heard from the floor, it can always be JF to appropriations then. And
No, it has to go, it would be in screening from the floor. They would send it to appropriations, but that's 2 weeks away. I'm just trying to, if we want to build an account for a loan and it's going to cost money, we should be JFing it to appropes, not to the floor. I agree with the context of the bill and putting the account together, but we're losing time by sending it to the floor. It's my point.
is there any other discussion, opinions? Seeing none. There is a motion by Rep. Vale to put it on the consent calendar. Is there a second? Any objection? Seeing none, we'll move it to the consent calendar. Number 2 is SB 901. An act concerning a registry of persons convicted of financial crimes against elderly persons. It's a JFS to floor, LCO 5157. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion first to JFS to the floor?
So moved. Representative Fortier.
Seconded, Representative Belinsky.
Seconded by Belinsky, and the motion was made by Rep. Fortier. Is there any discussion? Representative Vale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill gives me some concerns about creating registries and lists for the government to oversee people's due process and things like that. Is there anything restricting people from looking up people's backgrounds now? Like if they have a criminal history?
To be honest, I don't know what an average person would do to look up that. The only types I've ever seen is through your local police department, background checks, etc. There may be a way to do that, but I do not know that answer.
Okay. Again, I have concerns with this bill. I think sometimes people get on lists falsely, and it's very difficult to get off those lists sometimes. I don't think, I certainly understand the thought process behind this. I know there was another bill, 5779, we're talking about a study for penalties on abuse. I certainly might in favor of stricter penalties for those who do abuse seniors. But to create a list, I have grave concerns about that. And I will be voting no on this one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your concerns. Representative Hughes.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm echoing the concerns of my good colleague, Representative Vale. But I am concerned that this proposal was not made inclusive of the Financial Crimes Unit, law enforcement, and the Attorney General's Elder Justice Helpline that has been bombarded with complaints of financial crimes against elderly. And I think there's a better way to go, to including increasing penalties and even criminal penalties, but creating a workaround of a public registry and publishing people's personal contact information and addresses may open up us to unlawful workarounds. The justice system also I want to find ways for families, especially family who are looking to hire caregivers, to do due diligence and background checks, make that affordable, do a complete background check, which will flag people that are accused and may not, or at least in the system that may not have actually been convicted of a crime. And I think that's better use of due diligence for protecting folks than a public registry that has to be maintained and updated by the Department of, it looks like, Public Safety. So I'm going to be voting no on this as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rep. Hughes. Rep. Bohr.
Thank you, Chairwoman Garabay. I just, so this will probably go to the Judicial Committee, right? Because it talks about a registry of crimes. My question is, and I don't have a problem with people being on a registry if they committed a crime against our elderly. It is what it is, right? And they need to be listed. My question is about the communication to the elderly about how they're going to research somebody. Let's say they're going to hire somebody. It says in the bill that the Commissioner of Emergency Services will send the registry information to the Commissioner of Public Health for inclusion in a searchable database establishing the general statutes for persons seeking to hire individuals for positions helping the elderly. So does that mean that this database would be available to like the area on aging, or is this database available to individuals who may be elderly? Who will this database be eligible? Who will this database be available to is my question. And I know we might say public, but like who is this registry going to go to?
So it is my understanding that it would be open to families and others, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, if they're so that it would be open.
So if you're, and I appreciate that, if you're elderly, would you know to look at this registry or know to look up at this registry? I think it's important that our area on aging departments or any agency that works with, and I guess they would look at this registry. But for example, if you're a home health care agency and you're going to hire people to go in the home to help residents, you would want to have access to the information, but how are they going to know that this registry exists? I'm a little I'm nebulous on how who's going to know about this registry. Yes, it'll be public, it'll be open to anybody, I get that, but there's a lot of things that are public, but if I don't know about them, I don't look them up.
Mhm.
Am I-
So I think part of the intent was for home care agencies to have access to this registry before hiring home care workers. I don't, that would be an easy thing to communicate with them and make that available. I don't know if it would actually, it would be more difficult to get, an elderly person to see that registry. And that's why I know in most publications and elsewhere, it is encouraged for people to hire from an agency where hopefully there is screening, background checks, et cetera.
Okay, so that's helpful. That's good. Those agencies that are sending somebody into the home, right? I've unfortunately had that experience where we had an aide that came in to help my mother and stole. It would have been nice to have known that, or the agency looked that up. But does this also apply to, let's say I'm 70 years old and I'm going to hire someone to do contracting work on my house, but somebody, and I want to see if that contractor had stolen from elderly, would it be available in that sense?
I think what this is looking for is more people who commit financial crimes against elderly.
Yeah, well, sometimes somebody takes your money and they're going to build your bathroom and they never show up and then they get arrested. To me, that's a financial crime against the elderly, but I mean, I'm supportive.
You are correct.
I'm supportive of the bill. I was just trying to understand who will be using it and how we're going to communicate that it's available, but I'm guessing it's going to go to the Judicial Committee anyway. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? Okay, so Karen, can we have a roll call?
Okay, I can call the roll now. So there's been a roll call vote has been motioned and requested on agenda item 2, that is Senate Bill 901, an act concerning a registry of persons convicted of financial crimes against elderly persons. The motion is to JFS this to the floor. The LCO number is 5157. Senator Hockedel,
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Representative Garibay,
Representative Garibay votes yes.
Senator Miller, Representative Fortier,
Representative Fortier votes yes.
Senator Seminara,
Senator Seminara votes yes.
Representative Belinsky, Representative Borer,
Representative Boer is yes.
Representative Case, Representative DG,
Pass.
apologies. Could you repeat that, Representative Case?
Pass.
Representative DG Yvonne Carlo,
Rep. D. Giancarlo votes yes.
Representative Foncello,
Representative Foncello votes yes.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes no.
Representative Khan,
Representative Khan votes yes.
Senator Marks, Senator Rahman, Senator Slapp, Representative Vale.
Representative Vale votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Clerk,
Yes, Representative Belinsky.
did you register my vote? Because I realized I was on mute.
Apologies, I called your name but did not register your vote. Would you like to?
Thank you very much. Yes, I would like to be recorded as voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Mr. Clerk, Representative Case voting no.
Thank you.
Thank you. Going on to number 3, SB number 902, an act concerning the establishment of family councils in managed residential communities providing assisted living services. It's a JFS to the floor, LCO number 4785. Do I have a motion to put it on the consent to JFS to the floor?
Rep Hughes, so moved.
Representative Boers, the second.
Okay, a motion was made by Rep Hughes and seconded by Rep Boer. Is there any discussion? Rep Case,
Madam Chair, so if I'm correct on this, the JFS language makes this permissive. Is that correct? Instead of a shall?
yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
Are there any other questions?
I move to add that item to the consent calendar.
Okay. Thank you, Rep Vale. Adding it, made a motion to put it on the consent calendar. Is there any objection? Seeing none, SB 902 will be added to the consent calendar. Number 4, SB number 903, an act concerning a study of long-term care needs. It is a JF to the floor. Is there a motion to JF this to the floor?
So moved by Rep. Belinsky.
Seconded, Rep Hughes.
Okay, a motion was made by Rep. Belinsky and seconded by Representative Hughes. Is there any discussion? Rep. Vale and then Rep. Seminara. Senator Seminara.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I look at this and I know it's a study. This kind of strikes me as a placeholder bill. I don't see why these aren't things we could be looking at anyways. And would that be the case?
We're talking about the family councils.
Just in general, an act concerning a study. I know this had a public hearing, but I have concerns that this is one of those bills that has a little bit of language, but is very likely, if it were to go further, to change because of its broad title of the name. And no, we're talking about Senate Bill 903, correct? Yep. I have concerns. If you wanted to elaborate on what you think is the purpose of this bill, I'd be happy to entertain that. The statement of purpose says to study long-term care needs to ensure adequate resources are allocated. Certainly, there's no reason why we can't be doing that anyways. We should be doing that. It should be an ongoing process. We have the public hearings. We listen to a myriad of different people and experiences. This is a 26-line bill. To me, this thing just flashes placeholder. So that's my concern.
Senator Seminara.
I too was going to propose, thank you, Madam Chair. I too was going to propose the same question. Is this a placeholder bill? And if so, I will be voting no.
Okay, I think originally it may have. I think we saw it as, and we can do it in different ways with a working group or different ways, but it seems like in aging, we're always reactionary, just reacting to things that are happening instead of having a long-term plan of where we want to go, how do we best protect our senior citizens, and to give it due diligence. So I guess it just depends on the way you look at this bill, but I see it exactly what it says. But I'm also open to doing a working group or something that's not in a bill, just as long as we start looking at, short-term goals, long-term goals, and where we want to go. Rep. Case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. We could think about doing a work group or a study. So for me, that says that we don't have the language for the bill. So it would be a placeholder because we haven't really put the language down on paper. Is that correct?
I see language, but it might not be as in-depth as you would like it to be.
Okay, no, I just see that you're saying we could add things to it. So to me, that shows that we're a placeholder, and I'll be voting against it today. Thank you.
Okay. Rep. Bohr. Can you unmute yourself?
Sorry about that. Were you suggesting that this be a working group in lieu of a bill for a study?
I mean, I think both Senator Hockadell and myself are open to that, as long as we're looking. And that's what I read in this bill was more about, looking at the numbers of seniors and how it's growing to really get a grasp on what our challenges are so that we can act instead of being reactive. But
Yep, thank you. So I would support either one, right? So sometimes getting a study off the ground takes a little time. The language is developed, and I don't mind sometimes when it's a bit of a placeholder, because then we have the opportunity to vote for it on the floor. However, what I would say is, in my experience, I have seen that official studies that are outlined in a bill sometimes take longer than an actual working group. A working group, you could define who goes on it, and you could set your goals and your conclusions. Sometimes going through the legislative process might be longer than it needs to be. So I will support either way we determine how to study the needs. But just my experience, sometimes a working group is faster. That's all. Thank you.
thank you. Representative Fortier.
Yes, I was just going to say that I think while the language is broad, I think part of that is because the problem is broad. We're the 6th oldest state in the nation, and we're getting older every day. And I think we do need to know that the demographics and the numbers and where we need care and what kind of care we're going to need going into the future. And so I think it's an important tool for us, again, whether it's a study or a working group. I think aging does need to know what kinds of services we're going to need going forward. And with all that we've heard over the last couple of months about labor shortages, et cetera, we want to be able to prepare and be ready for the future for whatever the needs of our seniors are. So I don't want to not do anything, is what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further comments? So as we work in committee, we have a choice. Do we want to JF this forward with a roll call vote? Or do we want to withdraw the motion and use a working group? Further comments? Who made the motion, Cameron?
The motion on Senate Bill 903 was made by Representative Belinsky and seconded by Representative Hughes.
I leave that to Chair Belinsky if he wants to withdraw the motion.
Yes, Rep. Belinsky, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Hughes. I think that, I think we should let it go to a roll call vote as far as what we should do as a committee. There are people that object to placeholders in general. But I also completely agree with, with Rep. Fortier. The working group is something that this type of placeholder can bring us to, and it sort of obligates us to get going on it as opposed to not having any formality to moving the task forward. So that my opinion is I think we do a roll call vote and see how everybody feels.
Okay, thank you, Rep. Belinsky. Senator Seminara?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I like your suggestion to move it to a working group. I feel that this current bill is lacking language, and I think we would be best served. We would be best served in going into a working group and trying to address the needs. That was the intent of the bill that you said. I just think we need to be a little bit more concise on what we're looking to look at. But I do agree with you that we should be proactive rather than reactive. So hence why I think we should move to a working group, but I will leave it up to the chairs.
Okay, thank you. Rep. Case?
Yeah, Madam Chair, just curious though, if we move this to a working group, is there an attorney in the room? Do we have to repost it as a new with new language through you?
To be honest, because of process, I think I'd rather go to the roll call vote to see what everybody feels. And then sometimes these things can work themselves out afterwards. I agree with, the working group. I think in my experience, they're quick, they're easy to do. But I think my inclination in this case is to hold a roll call vote for process.
That's fine, and I would vote for it if it was a working group. But being up in the air, I can't support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you call the roll, please?
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion made and seconded on agenda item 4, Senate Bill 903, an act concerning a study of long-term care needs. The action is a JF vote to the floor. Senator Hockenell,
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Representative Garibay,
Representative Garibay votes yes.
Senator Miller, Representative Fortier.
I'm just not sure, because I'm leaning now towards a working group, and I'm just not sure if I vote yes, that means we're sticking with a study. So I think Representative Hughes is shaking her head. I'm going to pass. I'll pass for a minute. Thank you.
Senator Seminara,
Senator Seminar votes no.
Representative Belinsky,
Representative Belinsky votes yes.
Representative Borer,
Representative Bora votes yes.
Representative Case,
Representative Case votes no.
Representative Di Giovancarlo,
Representative Di Giancarlo votes yes.
Representative Foncello,
Representative Foncello votes no.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Representative Khan,
Representative Khan votes yes.
Senator Marks,
Marks votes yes.
Senator Rahman, Senator Slapp,
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Representative Vale.
Representative Vale votes no.
Thank you.
HB 5780, an act establishing a pilot program to expand access to hearing tests and hearing aids for senior citizens. It is a JF to the floor. Is there a motion to JF it to the floor?
So moved.
Thank you, Senator Seminara. Is there a second?
Second and Rep Hughes.
A second by Rep Hughes. Any discussion? Senator Hockendahl.
Thank you. I would just like to mention having a parent who just recently went through this, how hard it can be for our aging population that can't afford hearing tests, can't afford $2,000, $5,000 for hearing aids. So I would urge folks to vote yes on this. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean,
For favoring the consumer protections over the right to repair, but it does seem to have additional complexity, and I didn't know.
Okay. Senator Hockendahl made a motion to JF to the to add to the agenda consent calendar. JF to the floor, right? Is there a second?
We already did that. For the hearing aids?
Yeah, for hearing aids.
We already did that.
Mm-mm.
I move it to consent.
I'll second it.
Is there any objection? No. Pardon? Yeah, seeing no objection, we will add it to the consent calendar. Moving on to HB 5780. 5781, an act concerning a study of the needs of senior citizens. It is a JF to the floor. Is there a motion to JF it to the floor?
Rep Hughes so moved.
Rep
Rep.
Hughes
Polinsky- Rep. Polinsky will second.
and Rep. Polinsky seconded it. Is there any discussion? Rep. Vale.
Thanks. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, obviously this one only has 12 lines. This is obviously a placeholder. I don't know, again, we just had this discussion, so obviously you know my points from the previous discussion on item number 4. Is there any reason why this also couldn't be a working group? I'm not suggesting that we do that, since we tried to do that earlier and didn't and missed an opportunity, but I think, moving forward, that's something we should be looking into. I'm going to be opposed to this for the same reasons I was opposed to the earlier bill, item number 4. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Rep. Case.
My sentiments exactly. Bill with very little language. If we had some more on where it was going, I'd be in support, but being a placeholder, I can't support it today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion made and seconded on agenda item 6, House Bill 5781, an act concerning a study of the needs of senior citizens. The motion is a joint favorable to the floor. Senator Hockendahl,
Senator Hockendahl votes yes.
Representative Garabay,
Garabay votes yes.
Senator Miller, Representative Fortier,
Representative Fortier votes yes.
Senator Seminara,
Senator Seminara votes no due to lack of language.
Representative Belinsky,
Rep. Polinsky votes yay.
Representative Borer,
Representative Bora votes yes.
Representative Case,
Representative Case votes no.
Representative DiGiovancarlo,
Rep. DiGiovancarlo votes yes.
Representative Fonsello,
Representative Fonsello votes yes.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Representative Khan, Representative Khan, Senator Marks.
Votes
Oh,
yes.
Sorry, Representative Khan,
Sorry, Representative Khan votes yes.
Senator Marks,
Marks votes yes.
Senator Rahman, Senator Slapp,
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Representative Vale.
Representative Vale votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. SB 930, an act requiring notice of a proposed transfer or discharge of a nursing home facility resident to the state ombudsman. Is there a motion to JFs to the floor, LCO 5171?
Rep Hughes, so moved.
A motion has been made by Representative Hughes. Is there a second? No. Is there any objection? Is there a second?
Second by Rep. Polinsky.
Is there any discussion? Senator Seminara,
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment for the record on this one. I think it's a very low bar for compliance, so I don't have an objection there. However, I think the penalty is quite steep for non-compliance. So I will be voting yes on this, but I hope that we can work together and make some changes to the language in the future.
thank you. Is there any further discussion? Rep. Case,
Yeah, so is the intent here, the S language, basically to make it involuntary? Was that the word that was added through you?
yes, the word involuntary was added.
So it's for the ombudsman to look at the involuntary discharges.
Yes, sir. And it's at the same time that they serve notice to the resident that they will no longer be there. They also notify the ombudsman.
Does this have any effect to the bill that we had last year in Human Services to where involuntary to a homeless situation because the person had no place to go?
We've seen it, and I don't think it's limited to that. There are people that are discharged, and the family member can't take them in. In the end, maybe it ends up that they're homeless, but there's many different situations where a resident does not have a place to go.
Okay, no, I respect the bill. I just hope that, I thought we fixed this last year in Human Services to where anybody who is getting an involuntary had to prove that they were being sent somewhere where they had proper care or a home to go to, kind of like a discharge of a hospital. But if this is what we want to look at, it's going to have to go to approach because there will be a cost associated.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further comments? Motion was made by Rep. Vale to put this on the consent agenda. Is there any objection? Seeing none, we'll add it to the consent agenda. Number SB 931, an act expanding access to the Alzheimer's Disease Respite Care Program. It's a JF to the floor. Is there a motion to JF this to the floor?
Rep Hughes, so moved.
Rep. Hughes made the motion to JF it to the floor. Is there a second?
Rep. Polinsky, second.
seconded by Rep. Belinsky. Is there any discussion? Rep. Vale made a motion to send it to the consent agenda. Is there any objection? Seeing none. SB number 1025, an act implementing the recommendations of the Homemaker Companion at Agency. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped. SB number 1024, an act concerning a Dementia Services Coordinator, JFS to the floor. LCO 5006. Is there a motion?
So
Rep.
moved.
Hughes,
Rep. Belinsky.
Rep. Hughes seconded.
Who made the motion? Belinsky. Rep. Belinsky made the motion and Representative Hughes seconded it. Is there any objection to moving discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Thank you. Rep. Vale made a motion to send it to the consent agenda. Is there any objection? Seeing none, we will move SB 1024 to the consent agenda. SB 1025, an act implementing the recommendations of the Homemaker Companion Agency Task Force. Can someone make a motion to JFS to the floor, LCO 5084?
Rep. Hughes, so moved.
A motion was made by Rep. Hughes to send this to the to JF this to the floor. Is there a second?
Rep. Belinsky, second.
Rep. Belinsky seconded. Is there any discussion? Rep. Vale.
Just for clarification, I'm not sure if, but I believe it's a JFS, correct?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Seeing none. Rep. Vale made a motion to add it to the consent agenda. Is there any is there any objection? Seeing none. LCO 5084 will move to the consent agenda. HB 6575, an act encouraging socialization for nursing home residents by providing transportation for visits with family. It is a JF to the floor. Is there a motion to JF it to the floor?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, Senator Seminara made the motion. Rep. Valinsky, will you second that?
I would be happy to. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? Rep. Case.
How about we move this to a consent calendar?
Okay. Are there any objections to moving this to a consent calendar? And the motion was made by Rep. Vale. Case.
Same difference.
You said it. No. Huh? Yeah. So this moves to the consent calendar. Yep. Number 6576, an act strengthening support for grandparents and other non-parent relatives raising children. It's a JF to the floor.
So
Rep.
moved.
Hughes, seconded. Rep. Hughes.
Okay, the motion was made by Rep. Case and seconded by Rep. Hughes. Is there any discussion? Rep. Case?
I'll let it go if somebody has discussion, but I'd like to move it to consent.
Is there any objection with moving this to the consent agenda? Seeing none, it is so moved. Number 65776, an act strengthening support for grandparents. No, we just did that one. An act concerning long-term insurance premiums rates in HB number 6577. It's a JF to finance. Is there a motion to JF this to finance?
So moved.
Motion was made by Senator Seminara. Is there a second?
Seconded, Rep Hughes.
seconded by Rep Hughes. Is there any discussion? Rep Vale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In reading this, I believe this allows an income tax deduction for long-term care insurance premiums. And that whenever they're going to raise the premiums by more than 10%, that the insurance department will have to hold a public hearing. And that it will require that the insurance companies advise their policyholders in advance of such a hearing. Is that a total understanding of that? Is there not going to be anything that dictates what insurance premiums will be or cap them at a certain thing, but just the transparency is my understanding correct?
That is also my understanding.
Okay, sounds pretty good to me.
Is there any other discussion?
Rep. Polinsky, suggest that perhaps we move it to the consent calendar.
Rep Case, do you have a comment?
No, I was moving it to the consent calendar, but Belinsky beat me to it.
You had your hand up there, so I didn't know. Thank
I
you.
know you didn't see it.
Is there an objection to moving this to the consent calendar? Seeing none. HB 6677, an act concerning adult day centers. It's a JF to the floor.
Rep Hughes, so moved.
The motion was made by Rep Hughes to JF to the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Seminara. Is there any discussion? Rep Vale made a motion to add this to the consent agenda. Is there any objection? Seeing none. HB 6679, an act concerning aging and persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities, JF to the floor.
Rep Hughes, so moved.
Rep Hughes made the motion. Is there a second?
Second, Rep. Fortier.
Rep Fortier seconded it. Is there any discussion? Rep Hughes.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. I just want a few seconds to defend this bill. Aging has the fastest timeline for JFing our bills. I just got some information from LCO that I requested today. Haven't had a chance to attach the language but we are looking at basically studying the very concerning needs of folks with developmental disabilities who are going to need dementia care as they age. And we're looking at other states, how they're doing it. This is probably going to get included a little bit with Human Services bill, but I don't have that assurance yet. So that's why I'm asking the committee to JF this out today.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Rep Bohr.
Thank you, Chairwoman Garabay. I just want to take the opportunity to thank Representative Hughes and the committee for their work on this. I did not, the science continues to develop and we learn more. I didn't realize until the public hearing how much of a link there was with those with intellectual disabilities and Alzheimer's. And I believe it was said that those without Down syndrome display an increased prevalence for Alzheimer type diseases by the time they reach 65. So the more we learn more, the more we have to be prepared to help our population with intellectual disabilities as they age. So thank you for the work that you've been doing on this particular bill.
Thank you, Representative Bohr. Is there anyone else that wishes to comment? Is there a motion to add this to the consent? Oh, Rep Belinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know who keeps taking my hand down, but if I catch them, I'll take their hand down. I just wanted to also thank Rep. Hughes for her advocacy on this, and also just a shout out to Representative Case for all the work that he does in our IDD community. So this is really an important concept. So we need to be poised to do something with this should human services fall short. So I'm in strong support.
Thank you, Rep. Belinsky. Thank you, Rep. Vale. Making the motion to add this to the consent agenda. Is there any objection? Seeing none. SB 1026, an act concerning nursing home staffing ratios. It's a JFS to the floor, LCO 5193. Is there a motion? To JFS.
Rep. Hughes, so moved.
Rep. Hughes made the motion. Is there a second?
Second, Representative Fortier.
Thank you, Representative Fortier with the second. Is there any discussion? Rep. Case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know there was a robust discussion about this in the public hearing. My concern is we put a bill forward like this to change the ratios, which I agree with the ratios, but we need to have a plan behind it. We have no plan behind it. We have nobody to fill those jobs. We can't make it a law if we don't have the proper ability to backfill what we're trying to do. There's nothing in this language for workforce development, for putting money towards workforce development, and we're asking the nursing homes to increase the step, which I agree with. But how do they do it with no workers? Through you.
Thank you, Rep. Vale. Is there any further discussion? I mean, Case, sorry.
Same difference.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Seminara, and then we'll.
Okay, thank you. I just want to echo what Rep. Case just said. We're asking again for our nursing homes to increase staff without any increase in funding. I feel like we're setting up our nursing homes for failure, and we're also possibly damaging our long-term care facilities in the future. So I will be voting no for this.
Rep. Vale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, this is my first year on this committee. It's my understanding that just last year, was it, that we changed that requirement from 1.9 to 3. Is that correct? And so now we're going all the way up to 4.1, which is more than double where we were at last year. And as I think that was a long public hearing, the joint public hearing we had with the public, what other committee that was, but I listened to a lot of it, and I think there was some agreement that that's great, but in practicality, there's no one to fill these voids. And I don't think I think we understand the problem, but I think this is a terrible solution to that problem. And I think it's an unrealistic solution. So I will be opposing this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Rep. Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering if the LCO can speak to it. I thought I saw some language about extending out the timeline for, obviously this is the goal. And also, I also would like to know from LCO if there is an opportunity to create, along with this bill, some, workforce development, OFA analysis costs as a vehicle to do both, which is what we heard in testimony. And I don't really know the answer to that, but that's why I'm raising that question.
Representative Hughes, the substitute language does include a phase-in of different staffing levels, one to take place in July 1st, 2024, and one to take place January 1st, 2026. As for whether we can work on the workforce piece later, we can certainly amend the bill on the floor to include workforce development components.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, then given that, I would like to, ask for a roll call vote and, I will be voting this out of committee so that we can move that concept forward.
Rep. Bohr,
Thank you, Chairwoman Garabay. And I just want to align my comments. I had similar ones to both Representative Hughes and Representative Case. I'm glad to hear we're phasing in the dates. That gives some opportunity. I strongly believe our ratios should be changed. So I'll be voting for the bill to come out of committee, but I'm wondering between the time we have we voted out of committee and before it hits the floor, if there can be a conversation with the Office of Workforce Strategy to determine, to work with them to see what language we can amend in this bill, because as much as we all want to see the ratios change, there does have to be a strategy attached to that. We need to make sure folks are being trained in the community and, all those links to the certifications and the openings and unemployment is just a rather large undertaking. So I don't want to just put the bill out there without us being a part of the discussion to make sure that is in place.
thank you, Rep. Bohr. Rep. Polinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I echo completely what Rep. Bohr just said. That was actually going to be the first subject that I approached. As much as we want to see our seniors get the care that they need, linking that to increasing ratios at a time when there may not be the workforce to support that as an issue. Now, I also want to acknowledge that the proponents of the bill have been very flexible in this, and the implementation date was pushed back a year. Plus, there's a 2-year step up in the ratios. Now, what Rep. Bohr just talked about as far as the the timeline of preparing employees, even if you do have those employees, it concerns me from a business perspective that we might be levying substantial fines on people that can't control that circumstance. So the conversation with the workforce development people, really, really critical. So I'm not sure how I'm voting on this one. But I do think we need to look at it. And we do have to be considerate of the fact that we don't want to, drop a hammer on, on people that may not have control over their own destiny with us. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Rep. Case.
Thank you for the second time. And I just wanted to make sure that we understand that moving this forward, we just had 3 institutions shut down that train our people to be CNAs and nurses. And that's over 1,200 students that are now out of a program. We're working desperately in higher ed to try to figure out where those accreditations, because they're private credits within the college that don't match up with our programs in our community college system. So we are really at a deafening point right now of having close to zero people to put into this field. Yet we want to change it. As Rep. Vail says, we moved it up last year and we still aren't in compliance of the 3.0, but we want to move forward to the 4.1 without a plan of how we're going to get the people into the field. So our nursing homes are over 50% less staffed right now. So if they're less staffed right now and we want to add even a higher rate, we got to come up with the dollars to put behind it. And having, I'll say it, the Stone Academy shut down is a really big hit to this population. And we need to get on the ball and figure out what we're going to do. I know the Attorney General's involved, but 1,200 students are partially through their program and are out in the cold right now.
Thank you, Rep. Case. I just want to make a comment to clarify this bill. We know that it is the number one action that affects outcome for our seniors. In our hearing, many said they were already at a 3.6 staffing. And that is why we decided to stagger this and put it out. And it's not an unfunded mandate, because when we put higher staffing rates, it does have a ticket for both the state and the federals, because they will raise their prices. So we will be paying more per person. So in the end, the nursing homes are not left out without any income. I don't know if that does, but I'm going to call for a roll call and we can each vote. Thank you. Oh, Rep. Case, do you still have your hand up? It's gone. Thank you, Cameron.
That was Vale. That was Rep. Vale's hand.
I'm putting name tags on you.
A roll call vote has been requested on agenda item number 16, Senate Bill 1026, an act concerning nursing home staffing ratios. The motion is to JFS this to the floor. The LCO number is 5193. Senator Hockenell,
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Representative Garibay,
Representative Garibay votes yes.
Senator Miller, Representative Fortier,
Representative Fortier votes yes.
Senator Seminara,
Senator Seminara votes no.
Representative Belinsky,
Well, Representative Polinsky is, I vote yes, but I'm just letting this stay in Senate. If we don't address it, it can be a no on the floor.
I'm sorry, Representative Belinsky, could you repeat that? It wasn't quite clear.
I'm sorry. Representative Belinsky is going to vote yes in committee, assuming that we're going to address the problem, so I don't have to vote no on the floor.
Thank you. Representative Borer,
Mine's easier. Yes.
Representative Case,
Representative Case is a no.
Representative DiGiovancarlo,
Rep. DiGiovancarlo votes yes.
Representative Foncello,
Representative Foncello votes yes. I am concerned about the personnel numbers, though.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Representative Khan,
Representative Khan votes yes.
Senator Marks,
Senator Marks votes yes.
Senator Rahman, Senator Slapp,
Senator Slapp votes yes.
Representative Vale.
Representative Vale votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to number HB 6678, an act concerning nursing home transparency. Is there a motion to JFS to the floor, LCO 5189?
Rep. Hughes, so moved.
Rep. Hughes makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second, Representative Fortier.
Rep. Vale beat ya.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Rep. Borer?
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Garibay. And I think it's really important that we have this transparency. The only comment I wanted to make is I'm surprised Medicaid, CMS doesn't require these postings already. If they're providing funding, Medicaid funding, having it be public exactly what's done with that funding, I'm a little surprised that that doesn't happen on the federal level. But I will be supporting the bill.
Thank you. Rep. Case?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And from my understanding going through this, so now it has changed with the JFS language to include public and private. Is that correct through you?
Yes, it is.
With that, can I move it to the consent?
Yes, you can. Rep Case moves it to the consent calendar. Is there any opposition? Objection? Seeing none. Can the clerk please call the roll on the consent calendar of LCO 5189? The whole thing.
Consent calendar A has been roll call vote has been requested. A motion has been made and seconded. The bills on the consent calendar are as follows. Senate Bill 900, an act establishing a revolving loan account to assist elderly homeowners. The action is to JF this to the floor. Senate Bill 902, an act concerning the establishment of family councils in managed residential communities providing assisted living services. The motion is JFS to the floor with LCO 4785. Agenda item 5, House Bill 5780, an act establishing a pilot program to expand access to the hearing tests and hearing aids for senior citizens. The action is to JF this to the floor. Agenda item 7, Senate Bill 930, an act requiring notice of a proposed transfer or discharge of a nursing home facility resident to the state ombudsman. The motion is to JFS this to the floor. The LCO number is 5171. Agenda item 8, Senate Bill 931, an act expanding access to the Alzheimer's disease respite care program. The motion is to JF to the floor. Agenda item 9, Senate Bill 1024, an act concerning a dementia services coordinator. The action is to JFS to the floor. The LCO is number 5006. Agenda item 10, Senate Bill 1025, an act implementing the recommendations of the Homemaker Companion Agency Task Force. The action is to JFS to the floor. The LCO number is 5084. Agenda item 11, House Bill 6575, an act encouraging socialization for nursing home residents by providing transportation for visits with family. The action is to JF this to the floor. Agenda item 12, House Bill 6576, an act strengthening support for grandparents and other non-parent relatives raising grandchildren. The action is to JF to the floor. Agenda item 13, House Bill 6577, an act concerning long-term care insurance premium rates. The action is to joint favorableness to the Committee on Finance. Agenda item 14, House Bill 6677, an act concerning adult day centers. The action is to JF this to the floor. Agenda item 15, House Bill 6679, an act concerning aging and persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The action is to JF this to the floor. And agenda item 17, House Bill 6678, an act concerning nursing home transparency. The action is to JFS this to the floor. The LCO is number 5189. Senator Hockedel,
Senator Hockedel votes yes.
Representative Garibay,
Representative Garibay votes yes.
Senator Miller, Representative Fortier,
Representative Fortier votes yes.
Senator Seminara,
Senator Seminara votes yes.
Representative Belinsky,
Valinsky is a yes.
Senator Slapp,
Senator Slapp is a yes.
oh, this is an older version. Okay. Oh, hold up a second. Apologies. This is an older version of that. Apologies. It seems this is in just one, please. Apologies. There was a minor issue there. It's the same one. Okay. Representative Case,
Representative Case votes yes.
Representative DeGio Van Carlo,
Representative Van Carlo votes yes.
Representative Fonsello,
Representative Fonsello votes yes.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Representative Khan,
Representative Khan votes yes.
Senator Marks,
Marks votes yes.
Senator Marks, would you mind turning on your camera so we can authenticate your vote?
Well, if this old lady knew how to do it, she would, but it's in safe driving mode, even though I'm not driving and I don't know how to get out of it. So, no, I can't. Oh,
Okay. I'm being told by LCO that you need to have your camera on in order to have your vote be counted. We can come back to you at a later point. Senator Rahman, Representative Vale.
Representative Vale votes yes.
Okay.
I think you guys skipped me.
Apologies. Representative Borer.
Representative Boer is a yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. At this time, we have no plans for any further meetings until we recess. I would just like to thank the committee here, my senator co-chair, and every one of these Aging's committee members, the passion and care that you have all given during this process. I know that I am truly appreciative for, and on behalf of my co-chair, we thank you all. We will leave the votes open until 5 p.m. Having concluded our business for the day, we will recess the meeting until 5 p.m., at which time the meeting will be adjourned. We stand in recess. Thank you very much. And thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
We never turned our.
Senator Marks, I can see you now.
hi, yes, I vote yes. Did I miss any at the beginning?
Let me just check quickly.
Sorry
Uh,
about that. I couldn't get out of the safe driving mode, even though I wasn't driving.
It's always good to be safe while driving.
I wasn't driving.
I have no idea. I don't have that you missed any. I do not have you missing any votes today.
Okay, fantastic. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, this is Derek. I'm not sure. I don't want to jump the line. So I'm sure there's some other people too who may be asking about missed votes, but just want to make sure I didn't miss any.
Apologies, Senator Slapp.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was talking through the microphone again for that. Not sure if you can see me right now. There we go. I believe you missed the roll call vote for Senate Bill 901, Agenda Item 2. That is a JFS to the floor with LCO 5157.
Yeah, I vote yes. Senator Slapp votes yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, I think I've missed the first, I don't know if I missed a vote. I know when I got on, you guys were on, I think 2 or 3.
I have your vote on Agenda Item 2. So, and Agenda Item 1 was on consent, so I have you on all votes here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. No,
If you do.
I mean, if you went back to your desk, I would. It's just so there's some of your, okay, I'll send her Seminara.
Changing my vote.
I know one. Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Senator Marks. Apologies, I didn't see that were not present for Senate Bill 901.
Okay, just read the name of the bill for me.
No problem. That's Senate Bill 901, an act concerning a registry of persons convicted of financial crimes against elderly persons. It's a JFS to the floor with LCO 5157.
Okay, Marks votes yes.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Yep, bye-bye. Hi.
Hi, Cameron.
Hello, Senator Miller.
How are
Okay,
you?
there. Good. Yourself?
Good.
Let me just mark you for attendance first. So we have a consent calendar and 4 roll call votes.
Okay.
I'll start with the 4 roll call votes. So the first is Senate Bill 901, Agenda Item 2. That is a JFS to the floor, LCO 5157.
Yes.
Okay. Second is Agenda Item 3, Senate, or 1 second, sorry. So Senate Agenda Item 4, Senate Bill 903, JF to the floor.
9 what?
903.
JF to the floor. Yes.
Third one, we have Agenda Item 6, House Bill 5781, JF to the floor.
Yes.
Okay, and then it is Agenda Item 16, Senate Bill 1026, JFS to the floor, LCO is 5193.
Yes.
Okay, and then the consent calendar. Let me just pull up the numbers quickly here. This is Senate Bill 900, JF to the floor. Senate Bill 902, JFS to the floor with LCO 4785. House Bill 5780, JF to the floor. Senate Bill 930, JFS to the floor, LCO 5171. Senate Bill 931, JF to the floor. Senate Bill 1024, JFS to the floor, 5006. Senate Bill 1025, JFS to the floor with LCO 5084. House Bill 6575, JF to the floor. House Bill 6576, JF to the floor. House Bill 6577, JF to Finance. House Bill 6677, JF to the floor. House Bill 6679, JF to the floor. And House Bill 6678, JFS to the floor, LCO 5189.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Senator.
And thank you very much, Cameron.
You're very welcome.